England, Australia, as far as I'm concerned, they're the test matches.
Well, I think it all comes back more on the fact that there is definitely a war that goes on out in the middle. It's been going on now for 100 years.
An England-Australia series is the one, and you seem to try that much harder against England than anybody else.
Neither side gives the other side very much, and therefore it is very, very pleasant to have this opportunity to meet some of the greats of the past, which I have done during the last few days.
I personally am delighted to be here. It's a wonderful thing, and in fact, I expect some others have told you, one met people on the plane one hadn't seen before for years and years.
It's been a wonderful experience to come back and see these old players.
And then to see Larwood and these people in the flesh, it's been amazing.
It's been a terrific experience for me, and whoever put this show on, whoever organised it, I think the Queen, when she's here, should give him a medal.
The first test was played on the Melbourne Cricket Ground in 1877, but it wasn't until I was just browsing through looking for something, I've forgotten what it was now, but doing some research, that I saw this date again, and then all of a sudden I realised that it was only 4 years away, and I thought, well then it's about time someone did something about it. And as the Melbourne Cricket Club took a leading part in the first test in 1877, I thought we should take the lead in staging some celebration for the Centenary Test to be in March 1977.
"100 years of Test cricket, and many of the game's greatest players are here in Melbourne to celebrate the centenary of the first Test match, which started at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on the 15th of March, 1877.
Qantas announces the arrival of QF2 from London via Singapore.
This is your flight service director. Qantas hopes that the former England cricketers here for the Centenary Test enjoy their stay in Melbourne.
And coming off Qantas Flight 2, the first arrival, and welcome to Melbourne, sir, to Mr. Percy Fender. Nice to see you here in Melbourne. It's wonderful to have you here for the Centenary Test.
Thank you.
Percy Fender, who played in 1920-21, the oldest member of the English party, and gentleman coming on behind him, Les Ames, who was the wicket-keeper, and the only wicket-keeper, I believe, in first-class cricket to score 100 hundreds. And I think you were out here last year, sir.
I was, and the year before, too.
Yes.
Yes.
A man who's been to Australia more often than anybody else, I think, is Colin Cowdrey. Colin, I think this is your trip number, what, 7 or 8, is it?
7, that's right, thank you.
Not this time as a player.
That's right, no, very pleased to be here, thank you.
What of the news that Tomo's broken down? I suppose that when you saw you... And coming up now is a former captain of England, and I think sometimes Ted Dexter, you often fly light aircraft rather than travel on Qantas.
Well, I used to, but it's got rather expensive these days.
Mike Deness, who captained England in the last tour of Australia, and Mike, we've made the mention here that you actually captained England to its last win over Australia in Melbourne. This was in 1975.
That's right, in 75. It's a long time ago now, really.
It's 2 years back.
Yes, it is.
I
think probably what we'll be looking for this time is Tony Gregg's side trying to do a similar reaction as we did in that 6th Test match.
And here's a great personality, Godfrey Evans, and can't shake hands. Now, Godfrey, you've acquired a bit of a beard since you were last in Australia.
Oh, is this a beard?
Or sideburns.
Yes. Well, you've got to do that, you know, because otherwise they would think I was as young as I used to be.
And so the players are all off the flight now, and it's, again, it's a wonderful occasion to see these great cricketers, all of them who are available to come, a maximum number, and they're here in Melbourne for the Centenary Test.
On arrival at Melbourne Airport, a special TAA coach will be available to take the former Test cricketers and umpires to your official hotel. TAA offers best wishes for a memorable visit during the Centenary Test.
And here's the group coming from the flight from Adelaide, and some great personalities in the game here. We see Clary Grimmett. Welcome to Melbourne, Clary. Nice to see you here. Sir Donald and Lady Bradman here too. Nice to see you. Yes, Phil Ridings, Australian selector. Mel McGuinness. And in the flight we have, in fact, 5 Australian umpires, I believe. This is the total here. One of the great personalities to come across with the South Australian team is C.E. Nip Kalu, who played in the 100th Test, from my memory, in 1921.
That's right. In those days, just after the war, it was only 3-day matches.
Yes.
So you couldn't muck about. You had to get runs,
yes,
but you didn't want to lose at the same time. So it became very interesting, but we had such a good side that I think in the end, of course, we didn't have any trouble in winning the Ashes.
Of all the personalities to arrive from Adelaide, I think the most popular is Clary Grimmett. Well, we can make a comment about your first test, Clary. Can you go back to it? Against
Yes,
England?
I think I can. I've got a picture at home of Frank Woolley, the first victim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the match, from my memory, you took about 11 wickets.
I got 11 for 82, I think, altogether in the match.
Well, you'd never forget that. And this is the biggest flight from New South Wales. And gentlemen, welcome to Melbourne on behalf of TAA. And in the front seat, we've got two of the greatest personalities of the game, Hunter Stork-Henry from New South Wales and Harold Larwood from England. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it very much indeed. Renewing old acquaintance and meeting new ones.
What about your travelling companion over
Oh,
there,
well,
Harold?
he's a no copper.
Very quiet. I'm looking forward to it very much.
Played this fella 51 years ago, Harold.
Yes?
Yes.
And who got who out?
Oh, well, we won't say.
Down the plane, Graham Thomas, Ted Wykes, Frank Misson, the Archer brothers, Neil Harvey, the Australian selector. How's it going, Neil? Colin McCool. It's a great experience for you to come down here to see some old mates.
Oh, it is indeed. It's a long time no see.
Now, the last contingent to arrive here in Melbourne are from Queensland. And first of all, we see just climbing up the plane is Ray Linville. Ray, nice to see you and welcome to Melbourne. It's going to be a great occasion.
Thank you very much, Norm.
Ken Slasher Mackay, nice to see you in Melbourne, Ken.
Good. Great to be here.
I suppose Melbourne brings back some memories for you.
Yes, certainly. Especially 58-59 series against England when we won that test match here. It was the way back for Australia.
And here's a man who qualifies for this match on 2 counts. It's Greg Chappell, the Australian captain. You could hear as a former player and as a modern player, Greg.
That's right.
Which ticket are you going to use to get into the ground?
I think as a former player, the way I feel at the moment.
A man who played cricket before and after the war was Bill Brown. It's nice to see you here, Bill.
Thank you, Norman. It's lovely to be down here. Yeah. It's going to be a tremendous week, I'm sure of that.
The management and staff of the Melbourne Hilton extend a special welcome to all the former players and umpires who are here in Melbourne for the Centenary Test. We look forward to making your stay enjoyable for the next 10 days.
In all, there are 218 visitors, and of the former players, 79 have represented England. England's team arrives at the Victorian Cricket Association reception, and here are the famous Bedser twins. Bobby Simpson and Bill Lurry, and there's Davo. Keith Miller and Ray Linville, Brian Statham and Frank Tyson, 2 old-timers, Bill O'Reilly and Clary Grimmett, and the Middlesex twins, Dennis Compton and Bill Edrich.
We are the original test match enemies, but when the battles are over, we can get together, enjoy a drink, discuss the game, and enjoy one another's company. And that is what makes a test match between Australia and England something very special for both countries. I think the remarkable thing that will come out of this centenary test will be the wonderful friendships that are renewed. May this test match be not only an historic one, but also a memorable one, played in the true traditions of English-Australian tests, whatever that may mean.
Saturday, the 12th of March, 1977. A crowd which grew later to 61,000 watches the opening ceremony. Both teams are lined up on the field, and here are the former England captains ranging in age from the 70s to the late 20s. Australian-born Gubby Allen needs a walking stick these days. Freddie Brown coming through the gate, followed by Sir Leonard Hutton and Peter May, and finally Colin Cowdrey and Ted Dexter. Here's Jack Ryder leading out the Australian contingent, and there's a wonderful thing right behind him, Sir Donald Bradman, who's here, and Jack Ryder, of course, what an occasion for him. The oldest test player, he played in 1920-21. See Ian Johnson just a couple back there, the secretary of this ground, and Lindsay Hassett, of course, the well-known ABC commentator now. So Jack Ryder, listen to the ovation these men will get. Richie Ben over there. I don't think there has been a gallery or lineup of talent, of cricket talent like that in the history of the game.
I would doubt it very, very much indeed. What great names.
And as the players are all in position now, the former captains are there, and we await Mr. Bob Parrish to step up to the microphone after the appropriate fanfare.
And here goes.
The Australian Cricket Board has been able to bring to Melbourne to join with us in celebrating this centenary of Test cricket between England and Australia more than 200 great players of previous years. On the 15th of March 1877, the first Test match between England and Australia commenced on this ground. This will be the 226th Test match between our two countries. It will certainly be a test to remember, and just as certainly a test of memories. And may I hand to you, Greg Chappell, this gold commemorative medallion with which to toss, and to wish you and Tony Gregg, both of them, the best of luck, and may we have good cricket.
To the middle of the pitch they go. Now that they'll have a look at this before the toss, and we're standing by now for this all-important toss.
It's all yours, right? Right, you can have it, man. Thank you very much. Good game.
Play will start in just 10 minutes' time. The umpires are scheduled to arrive on the field in 5 minutes. So now, before the players come out, we'll have the opportunity of introducing a former England player, Jeff Boycott, and he will be talking now to Frank Tyson.
Jeff, interesting decision of Tony Gregg's. Won the toss and decided to bowl.
I hope he doesn't live to regret it in this great occasion match. And I think it basically stems from the fact that England is worried about its batting. They're so worried about the batting that they put Amis down to 4. They've got Fletcher at 5, who's never done very well against Australia in the last couple of series. And I think all in all, they're a little bit frightened that Lilly will get into them fairly quickly. And all right, they may say that on the bonus side for England, that John Lever's bowled very well in India. Bob Willis and Chris Hole have supported him well in India, but even so, I think it's a step which he may live to regret.
And as the Australian openers come out, it's good morning here in Melbourne to make his maiden appearance on ABC television, Jim Laker. Good morning, Jim.
Thank you very much, Norman. So there's Ian Davis, my first look at Ian Davis to receive the first ball of this really momentous game from John Lever, coming in here over the wicket to him. Away, leading Fletcher and off the pad. I think it's a leg by signal. So the first score going on the board, but no runs yet from the bat. That was a useful ball.
Watch this for the movement off the wicket as we watch it again on video disc. Good delivery, just short of a length. Now it goes away from the bat there.
Good runs there. Pushed away, wide of mid-on. Derek Randall there as he fieldsman as Davis opens his account with a couple of runs. Now there's an interesting character that I'm quite sure Australian crowds a lot of amusement for. Brilliant fielder, possibly one of the best that we've turned out in the home country in the last few years. And he's given him out. And the first wicket down, John Lever strikes with the score on 11, and Davis the man to go, out for 5.
I want you to notice how Davis really doesn't go forward or back. He's playing very much across. I beg your pardon, he goes back further than I thought, and that makes it a pretty easy decision for umpire Brooks to make, because he was well back.